Can you？你能不能等一下再做饭啊？我的会就1个小时。Sorry, that was my mom. If everyone on our team is here, shall we get?
Now we're going to talk about 10 months, and we have the lovely team here. We have director Amie Song and actor Cynthia Hu, who played the role of Lydia. And congratulations to both of you. Your film has been nominated for 3 awards this year. Pretty exciting. You have Best Short Film, Best First Time Filmmaker, and a Best Actress nomination for Grace Lynn, who played the mother in this role. First of all, I wanted to say welcome back to Amie. You, like me and Mark, were a host for Geek Fest Toronto and ReelHeART in 2021. My first question is going to be, how did your role hosting impact your decision to come back to ReelHeART and create this beautiful film?
It was kind of interesting because last year it was right after ReelHeART when I started shooting. So it was literally the end of the festival, and then we start shooting. Being part of the host, like having a lot of the conversation dialogues with the filmmakers has definitely inspired me to think more about how I want to approach filmmaking, and also really inspire me to kind of feel like their passion really has been very empowering in the sense that I feel like I can make a film after all these conversations. So definitely, yeah, I'm really glad to be back.
And we're glad to have you. 10 months. Obviously, the number 10 pops up a lot in this film. It's 10 months that the mother and daughter are there quarantining together. It's 10 years between when Lydia first moves to the US till present day COVID situation. And also, it's my understanding that 10 months refers to like Chinese phrasing about pregnancy. And I was wondering if maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
There's a phrase in Chinese called 10月怀胎, which means 10 months of pregnancy. It's used a lot when describing the hardship mothers went through carrying a baby. And it's used a lot of times to discuss the relationship between a mother and her kids. There were times when I would talk to my mom or my grandma, and they would talk about how going through that 10 months of pregnancy has changed their life and also has been the foundation of this relationship. So for me, it was interesting to think of 10 months in that sense as well. Is this where their relationship started? This is also where their relationship currently is. And in a sense, it's also true that for Lydia's character, she has been moving away for all these years and she has never spent such a long time with her mother. So it's sort of like going back to the very beginning of the relationship when they were so intimate because of COVID, like they had to stay together all the time, kind of similar to how like at the very beginning of the relationship, she was part of her mother, and they were also very intimate in the physical sense as well.
Just speaking of the dynamic between your mother and daughter characters, Cynthia, you and your co-host, Grace, have such incredible chemistry on screen. And I would love to hear more about how you built that dynamic for this film.
I only met Grace when like later when we start to like rehearse and block, so we didn't like audition together and all of that. And then we just on our breaks we will like talk to each other. Grace is like such a great personality and a great person to talk to and to work with. So like I feel like as like Cynthia and Grace, we had like a really nice bond through this process, and it's like really easy to bring that into making the movie, because she will also tell me like her daughter who graduated or all of that, like her experience with her daughter, and I will share things with my mom, and I feel like it's just like it's there. And once I see, I guess, like Asian women that I work with in film or theater, I will just like there's something that I just click, and I feel like you probably speak my language, know my experience and all of that. So it wasn't like a very hard thing to feel like the mother and daughter relationship in that sense.
There was a lot of food in your film. Can you explain to us if there's some sort of connection between food and the Chinese culture?
Yes, that's very intentional. Initially, when I wrote the script, I was like, I want one food in every scene I have because I feel like that's such a huge part of Asian or Chinese culture is so many things are expressed through food. Your love is basically how my mom showed me her love is usually through cooking and food. And also I feel like there are a lot of dynamics between the food we eat, like I eat now versus what I eat home. So the first thing, there's like a shot with coffee on one side and the traditional Chinese breakfast on the other. So I feel like food is also a way of talking about what the cultural clash in a sense, in a very visual way. And I just love food scene. It was really fun shooting food scene, and Cynthia had a lot of food on the day when we shoot the launch scene. They ate a lot.
We noticed in the programming department there was a particular color palette that you used. Please tell us a little bit about that color palette, if you don't mind.
I had this image at very early on when I wrote my script, is that how to convey this passage of time, not with like a title card telling people it's 3 months, it's 4 months, it's 5 months, and how to make sure that people feel like something has passed, but also they're a bit lost where things are. So sound and other, like visually, we're doing a lot of things to convey that, but color is a thing that has come really early to my mind as well. I picture each scene, like the tonality of it with a certain color, like initially it's a wintry color and later it gets warmer and warmer into summery color. So I feel like I was trying to use color as a way of telling people, helping people to situate where we are in terms of the story, in terms of the 10 month. And also I feel like it's like the tonality of the film, like the relationship is sort of also reflected in the color. Like it was cold in the beginning, and then by the time they had that lunch together and sit down to talk, I want a really warm color so that people kind of feel like there's a reconciliation there happening.
What have you learned about yourself through the making of your film?
I think my role in the community and to find my community and to speak my voice is very important because it's actually, this is like my first, like a real professional short film. And just to be on a group with so many Asian people, I really found that to embrace myself and to be in this process as who I am. And I feel like that's very important. And I feel like I've learned how to comfortably do that now.
I think what I learned the most actually in this process is how to be kind. Or what kind, I thought a lot about what kind of director I wanted to become in this process, because you see on media a lot about these male director a lot of times that they're being brutal or they're being like very strict or they're torturing their actors, and they're sort of put up as the idolized version of what director should be. Which I think in the process of making my film, I realized what I enjoy the most is to create an environment for everyone to really bring out the best part of themselves in the most comfortable way. So I think from this process, I've learned how to be kind, how to be patient, how to work more with people, and also just thinking of the director that I wanted to become. I want to be a really nice director that everyone loves working with me. No one needs to be tortured for anything. And that's what I learned about myself and where I want to be from making this film.